start selling. So what we're looking for is some type of systematic way to conclude some form of action. And typically, when we initially sit down with someone, in our minds and in our hearts, we want the sale. But we don't always communicate that. That said, let's continue on the process. What are some steps? And if we have a process, we can come up with some steps on how we engage any sale. The goal being we create an order, and that's not an order as in a sales order, it's more of an order of the meeting with the potential client. We create some type of certainty while talking with the prospect, and walk them through that buyer's journey. And if we think of anyone who's about to buy or is interested in our product, we start to see that having some boundaries clearly defined helps to shape what the end result will be, simply because I find there's a lot of uncertainty when we meet with an initial client. They have some unknowns. Why are we meeting? What is it that's important here? What does the guy I'm meeting with really want? If we can talk about those things, and it tends to be not the status quo to talk about all those initial points or pain points up front. But if we do, what we find is that we have some benefits. Again, I'll get to that in the next slide. We want to position ourselves as salespeople as what I see as salespeople is everyone in our organization. Everybody should be selling all the time, or be prepared to sell at all times. So we're going to position you in control of the selling process, and I'll get to the steps on how to do that in a minute. So why do people buy? My wife can rationalize any purchase, and she has that gift. So if we suddenly have 2 or 3 vases of flowers at the kitchen table, there's a reason for it, and she can rationalize it. If I go to the grocery store, I tend not to come back with flowers, but she does. Why is that? Well, because it makes the house smell better and everything, it keeps people happy. She rationalizes that to me, because that's how we are when it comes to any purchase we make. We make a purchase based on emotional reasons, and then we justify that purchase with logic. The outcome of what we have basically is the purchase of the item or service. That's the goal. People buy a story, and they buy based on feelings associated with that story or the emotional response. And we've all done that. Think of your last purchase. If you bought a car, if you bought a big purchase, or a house, for example, I think houses or apartments are good, because it tends to be that the real estate agent tries to put you into that home and starts to build those memories that may not yet exist, but the future memories that could exist, and why you would fit well into that home, whether it be an apartment or a house. And working on that, those emotions really does help people to see themselves in that purchase and not have any buyer's remorse. So, benefits of the sales process. I know we only have half an hour, and I've got 10 minutes left, so I will get through these. My goal is that we can meet weekly, and we'll go through the entire process, which will probably take a couple of weeks, but we'll do this as a broad overview at this point. So, a process for selling. This is basically taking the potential client through a journey from start to finish, whether it's closing the sale or not proceeding with the client. Oftentimes we'll meet with a client and our goal is that we're going to sell them, but we don't know if we're going to sell them. We just hope we're going to sell them. But if we can explain to the client at the beginning that the goal is either you say yes and this is a good fit for you, or you say no and we move on. And we ask them for a referral of someone they think would fit with this, and we meet with somebody else. There's always a benefit of being upfront with the client. Results. we close. And that means we close the sale. And that could be a sale or no sale, and we move on. So you either close the sale with a win, or you get a definite no, which means that you have the opportunity to learn, or you save money, time, because it does cost time to meet with somebody, and if you have to meet with them 1 or 2, maybe 3 times, that tends to eat into the opportunity cost that we have with meeting with other clients. So save time and resources by not responding to an unqualified prospect. If we have a product, and we do have a great product, we want to make sure that the person buying it actually will use it. Because if they're not going to use it, they're probably not our ideal client. But we can talk about how we identify who our right client is. We'll do that in the future. Number 3, you get a referral to someone the prospect recommends better suited. So this is a way, basically, if we do get a no from the client, this might not be good for me, but you know, my sister, she does a lot more cooking than me. I travel a lot, I'm not home. I don't do a lot of cooking, so I don't have any organic food matter really a lot in my kitchen. Okay, but my sister, she loves to cook. She cooks a lot. Why don't you talk to her? You know, being able to have a referral to someone specifically really helps, because now we've got this person is no longer a stranger. I got your name from your brother, and he suggested that we talk because he felt that you would be a good fit for our product. Can we talk about it? I was taught a long time ago by a friend of mine who sold cars, and he said, you can get anything, or you can sell anyone, provided you ask for permission first. And you'll find that if you ask for permission, even though it's just a simple question, would that be all right with you? Simple questions like that tend to be answered in a positive manner. So we'll talk more about asking for permission first in future slides, but keep that in the back of your mind. Ask for permission first, it does help. And next slide, what are the steps of the whole process? And this is what we'll get into in future sessions. I know I have 5 minutes left, and I want to save some time for questions, and I'd like to understand who you all are, because I don't know any of you other than a few of you, but we'll talk about that in a sec. The steps. So first step is building rapport with the client. People want to buy from people that they feel comfortable with, that are as human as they are. And oftentimes we'll talk to a prospect that we feel maybe not approachable, but everybody has an emotional component to them. And we can build that rapport, and we'll talk about that in detail in the future. Defining boundaries. Again, we want to go into a meeting clearly defining exactly what we want and what we want the client to share with us. If we come up to a client and we don't define boundaries, the client's often left wondering what it is they want. And we don't want them to end up basically saying, you know, I can't buy this right now because I have to talk to so-and-so, my wife, my business partner, what have you. We can address those potential pitfalls if we define boundaries clearly. And we'll talk about that again in later sessions. Number 3, questions. It's always best when you're talking to somebody initially after the building of the rapport to ask questions. I'll be meeting with people today, and one of my first questions was, "Hey, do you cook?" And of course they say yes. I say, "Do you cook, or do you microwave TV dinners?" "Oh no, we cook." "So you have food waste?" "Yes, we do." "Okay, what do you do with your food waste?" "Well, we throw it in the garbage." I'm like, "Do you think that's a good idea?" Again, more and more questions that we ask start to make the prospect think about what they're doing and whether or not this potential product that we haven't even introduced yet could be a good fit. It also gives us information on that client so that we can continue to ask those questions and tailor our presentation and our pitch to them. We need to identify some type of client pain. We all have a kitchen at home where we've had some type of organic food waste in the kitchen. It starts to stink, whether it be in the garbage or if we're taking things out for a compost bucket out in the garden. It attracts flies, it stinks, et cetera, et cetera. There are pains. What if we could alleviate those pains? Obviously, being able to talk to the client about that is a benefit because it gets them thinking about, you know what, that would be nice. And we'll talk about how to go about that again in a future session. We want to see the client in a better scenario than they're currently in. What if you could have a kitchen that had organic waste in a device and no smell and benefits of high-grade compost for your garden? Again, we haven't even asked the question of gardening, but a lot of people do. Some don't, but some do. And we don't know what's important to this client yet because we haven't really talked to them. But as we ask those questions, we'll start to understand if you could have no smell in your kitchen and a reduction in food waste, is that a benefit to you? And they start to see it. Hey, you know what? It would look good in my kitchen to have a place where we can put organic food waste and no smell, no bugs, and a benefit at the end of a week. We keep talking about money. Oftentimes the money point is a sticky wicket or a difficult part. But if we're clear with the expectations of what our product's going to cost and how they can go about buying it, we deal with any objection before we even present to the client. So we don't want to be, if the client's budget for garbage containers and compost machines, or compost, a static composter out in the garden is limited, to, let's say, a couple $100. They're probably not our ideal client, but if they're willing to spend a little bit more, if they spend money on compost, they spend money on flowers, they spend money on garbage bags, etc., we can start to see where, hey, spending a little bit more on a composter might be of benefit, and we can talk to them about that. I was looking on Wayfair, and I mentioned this to a few of you. Some of the static compost machines on Wayfair are upwards of $700, and they don't. People have bought them more than once, which is shocking. But it also shows that having a kitchen composter would be a benefit to those clients. And I think at the time when I lived on Wayfair, 21 people had given it 5 out of 5 stars. And again, it just sits out in the garden and does, well, it does eventually create compost, but not quickly. Next is the client presentation. Once we have all the information, we can present clearly. Again, we've asked the questions to the client. We've identified whether or not this client is a good prospect, and we've also gone through the boundaries. So we've basically said, if you don't think this is going to work for you, you're allowed to say no. And I'd rather have you say no to me than maybe. And if you're not the decision maker, let's meet when everybody who can make the decision to move forward is available. We don't want to meet with one person who isn't willing to make the decision or can't make the decision. We want to meet with all decision makers at once. And that way we can much more easily tailor our presentation to those people and handle objections. The big objections tend to be, maybe, let me see, I have to talk to so-and-so first. If we define the boundaries at the beginning, that all parties who are responsible for making a decision, if they are the ideal prospect, are present, we can cut down on some of the objections we may have. We'll talk more about that in another session. Closing, obviously closing, when we presented everything, we've answered questions, we have to ask for the sale and ask permission first. So, we've gone through everything. It sounds as you'd be a good fit for the Lilac composter product. Would you be willing to make the purchase now? And it's either a yes or no. And most of the time, again, if we've gone through, identified the pain points, identified our client properly, we're going to have a very positive close in, which will be a sale. So that's an overview of a sales process. We can go into greater detail at future sales meetings. And if you have any questions, please ask away.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Chris. Very systematic. Very systematic the way and also with the hands-on experience. Thank you very much. Yeah.
My pleasure.
Okay, you guys.
Okay, it's question time for the team.
Okay.
Any questions for Chris?
What are the common boundaries that we might need to ask in the second step?
Right. I think most boundaries are, so the big boundaries that I've come across are tend to be, if we haven't identified that this is a good fit for the product, we probably shouldn't be meeting with them. We can ask the questions. Keep in mind, everybody we talk to has somebody else that they could refer us to us, so we don't want to write them off as you're not a good fit. We want to talk to them about, hey, who do you know that would be a good fit after we talk about the product and etc. But a common problem that people tend to come up with is I have to talk to my spouse or my business partner. These are ways of putting people off. And it's really because we haven't taken control of the situation. So really what we're trying to do, and some sales books refer to this as framing the sales call. And essentially what they're doing is they're establishing boundaries. Talking to the client and saying, listen, I want you to know that I'm not going to sell you this if I don't think it's a good fit for you. And I want you to be honest with me. If you don't think this is a good fit, tell me. And be upfront, please. And by kind of not being pressured into the sale, we really lower the client's potential that, oh, I have to deal with a salesperson and all they want to do is sell me. We want to sell you, but we also want to sell you something that's going to help you. If we're just pushing a sale on you, it doesn't help us and it doesn't help you. And you're probably going to say no anyway. So I'd rather understand what your pain points are, talk to you about boundaries in the sense that it's okay for you to say yes, but it's also okay for you to be completely honest. You're not going to hurt my feelings. This is not emotional in regards to the relationship. The purchase is emotional, but our relationship isn't. I want you to be honest with me. And it's okay for you to say, you know what, this doesn't fit for me. And that's when we ask, okay, well, in your life, you got to know somebody who this may be a better fit for. Could you share that with me? Now we're getting a referral. It's so much easier to meet with a client with a referral than not. And so in establishing some of the boundaries, which is basically I'm not a good fit or I am a good fit, and giving the client permission to be honest with you and just set it up. You know, I want to make sure my goal is to sell you on the product, but before that, I want to make sure you're a good fit for the product. So as you can see in the slides, you know, we don't even get to the presentation until I think slide number 6 or so, where we've actually asked questions, but we've established this is the boundaries of a relationship. You're allowed to tell me and be completely and totally honest with me. You're not going to hurt my feelings, but I want to make sure you're a good fit, and I also want to make sure that all decision makers are present in order for us to move forward. Does that work for you? And all the time, when you ask that, they will say, yeah, that's good, because now they trust you, and trust is everything when we're moving forward in the sale. I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, I think I just added this. This is very interesting. I want to emphasize that. Yeah, ask the question first prior to presentation. Yeah, that's actually very important. The sales point.
And actually, all the meetings I have this afternoon have been with people that I've just reached out to, and I said, you know, hey, I'm working with a new company. They got an awesome new product. But listen, hey, do you still have your garden? Do you still do that? Do you still cook in your kitchen? Or And all of them said, yeah. And I said, well, this is a product that, produces, a high quality compost. Are you familiar with grade A compost? And they're like, no. Are you familiar with the fact that there's different types of compost? No. Okay, so what do you think compost is? Well, it's dirt, but it's got fertilizer in it. Well, it's more than that. But we've started that conversation, and we started also educating the client and helping us to basically understand, and for them to understand that there's a potential benefit out there for them.
Thank you.
Any more questions from the team?
I have a question, Chris. When you did not have any markup, anything visualized, and you might have a demo, like an AI version, but when you reach out to people, it sounds like a very interesting concept. But how do you prove that you're selling to people that they will trust you something that doesn't exist? How do you
Exactly. And this is currently what I'm dealing with. It's been something that I've it's slightly new in the sense that we're selling something that currently is in production, and we need people at the beginning. So even though a discount is a benefit, it's not a discount if we don't have delivery. And I guess the benefit of the way we're doing it here is we're not going on Kickstarter at this point in time and touting all these benefits and virtues of something that doesn't exist and hoping that a whole lot of people sign up and then we don't deliver. We're going to people and saying, listen, we are going to deliver in September. We're looking for people who are intelligent, who actually fit our target demographic and are willing to test the product end of September and give us feedback so that we can make the product better. And so really what we're doing in this case is, and we do have some pictures and prototype slides that we can share with them, but the whole point being, we're asking them to help us at the ground level. And what I've found is that a lot of people are willing to help. Now, a lot of these people we already have relationships with, and we're asking them for a favor, but we're also still selling a product that, when they have it, will benefit them in the long run. So I would say, be honest with them. The product isn't available yet. We will have some 30 units that we can trial and test. And I'd even open it up to say, listen, when our test units come in, I'm happy to come back here and show you how it works after you sign up, and get the commitment at the beginning, and then from there we'll move into meeting with them on a regular basis to let them see what the product actually does when we have the prototypes in hand and can go and visit with the client, and maybe they keep it for 2 weeks or 3 and just start using it and trying it. Not every client is going to have pushback with, hey, it doesn't even exist, because a lot of the people that we're talking to are trusting us as people they know. So they're putting a lot on that, and I think we used that initially because our initial sale, we're looking at 100 units, but we will have 30 units in circulation that we could potentially use for those clients that may feel adverse to investing before they actually have a product to touch. And the other point being, it might be okay to just say, listen, if you're not comfortable right now with this, ask for a referral to somebody who might be more open to making the investment before the product actually is in their hand. And there's nothing wrong with that, because again, if we can meet with more and more people, educate them as much as we can on the benefits of the product now, when they get the product, they're going to be quite excited, I think. So I hope I've answered some of your question, but it is, I understand it is difficult when you don't have a product and what we're selling is that emotional response and that dream. But we are getting more and more marketing materials together to basically help our end user see our vision. And I think, yes, it's a harder sale when we don't have a product, but it's not an impossible sale if we're honest with them.
Great, thank you so much.
Good question. Well,
Hey, yeah, hi Chris. So my question is, everything that we spoke to is kind of also limiting to a personal sale that you would make. Would you extrapolate or expand this topic to even making sales digitally to overseas? Like the bigger market is the world out there. So how do you reach out to everyone trying to sell it? So it's a digital medium. You are not confronting someone face to face.
right.
So what might be certain beneficial tricks that you could basically propose today?
Is your goal, can we sell outside the Canadian market right now, face to face or online?
Or even, let's say, in distance, you're not meeting people, they're not right next to you in the city where you can physically be present. So
Right.
what would be your go-to thing to do if you're, maybe it's a telephone, maybe it's a video call, maybe it's someone at a distance that you're communicating. So you lose out on a lot of aspects that you might have when you're physically present. Like, let's say, just to establish trust.
Yeah.
So what would you do in a situation like that?
I recommend initially, Rohan, deal with people you know, especially for when I'm talking sales right now, I'm talking about that initial 100 sales that we're going to work on because we don't have product. So I would talk to people you know, people who already trust you, and continue to just hone on that relationship. You know, people want to hear what's happening in your life. So, you know, share what you're passionate about with regards to the product. I know from an engineering perspective, you get passionate about things that I'm sure your engineering friends would be passionate about too. So share that with them, and don't be afraid to ask, hey, would you be willing to participate in this with us? You know, I can get you in on the ground level. We're looking for some, information on how to make the product better. But even when it's released, we still beat the competition where we're at. And I talk to them about that and get their feedback. We can't go wrong with getting in front of people. Even if they don't buy, we're still going to get some type of good feedback, and we can learn from that. So with regards to if I can't meet face to face, that's okay, because really I've done a lot of my initial for the 12 people that I've got. The initial thing was just a text message. Hey, I've got something that I think you'll be of interest to you. Want to have a drink? That was it. And of course, boom, they all want to meet, and from there, they sign.
Magic.
Yeah, that's a while back. Yeah.
George, you want to talk about the sales commission?
Yeah, okay. I gave a little excitement for everybody. Okay. First of all, what do we sell? Everybody understand what do we sell, right? Okay, we sell our units right now, Canadian dollar 950, okay, and the US dollar 790. Okay, that's a price. And then what do we pay right now? What do we collect the money right now is 50% of deposit. Okay, and then another 50% will be paid by the upon delivery, which is third quarter this year. Okay, and also the first that I'm talking about for the first 100 units, we gave a 20% discount. Okay, and the last one, not the least one, and the most important one, yeah, we wanted to promote everybody go to the sale, and then we gave everybody 10% commission of the sale. Is that everything clear?
That's great. That's great. Yeah. So what I heard, George, is that if anybody in the family sells, we all get 10% commission.
Correct.
That's
Yeah.
very good.
I think because Chris is training everybody, Chris should get some trickling down effects. We can talk about that.
Pros. Oh, You
Oh, you're drinking already.
You got the
My
champagne.
wife made me a mimosa. It's Friday apparently.
A mimosa,
She said,
of course, of
"You're gonna
course."
need this." I'm like,
You started your dinner too early. Well, fun.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Chris. I have everything on video. This is fantastic introduction on the sales process, and
So I'd like to meet again, everyone, and I kind of pushed these slides together within the last 20 minutes before we met. But I do have I have more content that we can use to actually talk more about the process and get into how we set up that boundary or framework initially before we meet. And I think that'll be helpful. I'm going to test some theories on, and as Jen mentioned, it's hard when you don't have a product. I'm going to test some of the process on the clients today. Now, the problem being, I have a relationship with all of them. I guess that's not a problem. It's going to make it easier to sell them. But I will ask them, how would you go about selling this when there's no product? And why did you say yes? Because there's no product. I know it's because they have a relationship with me, but I'd like to get their feedback. So I will share more, and I'm hoping we can do a weekly sales meeting and give you a little bit more information and make it a little bit more exciting.
Yeah.
sounds good.
Yeah, one of the positive feedback, whoever installed it, the one will say, I like the product. That's the reaction. I like the product. That's why they make this.
So I guess
They-
one
they-
other thing to
they
think
make a
about,
buy.
folks, before, and this is more for management team, what happens, it'd be ideal if we could have I guess a solid date for shipping and know that's going to happen. Because having to go back to clients, I've been looking at some of the competitors who've been funded on, various crowd sourcing sites and still haven't shipped their product, which looks fantastic for over 2 years. And they've got we've got people asking, hey, when are you going to ship? When are you going to ship? We don't want that from our client base, especially from 100 users that we're really selling to get feedback from. And so for them to have product is very important. I want to make sure.
Okay, my laptop just died, so that's unfortunate. But yeah, that's the last point. That this is the team that's going to make sure that shipping actually happens, right? So everybody sees the value that you put the sweat and the tears every day, basically to ship these products. A lot of the competitors, Taro for example, go bankrupt. They pre-sold $3 million. Bankrupt. They closed down their project. Why did they do that? They cannot ship. They just did not ship the product, and they sold $3 million worth of products. They don't.
What?
They don't. Because the money is spent. It's gone. And that's why lots of people think Kickstarter is very scammy. I pay the money, I don't see anything. I pay some people. I met the co-founder. I literally have her on LinkedIn.
That's a company equipment. That's a company equipment.
On the flip side, Lomi, they shipped product and they're doing very well.
Yeah.
They're the number 12
Wait a minute.
best selling product on Amazon, Amazon store. They're selling on all offline boutique stores and lots of issues. It's not certified. The thing that gets jammed in 3 to 4 days because stuff gets underneath. The odor is bad. Lots of issues, but they still sold 140,000 units. The bomb is probably $50. They sell at $650.
But only requires additional chemical element.
So you see how important it is to ship the product.
Yeah.
That's
important.
That's
Ship it.
that's what we're doing.
That's important. Yeah.
That's the only thing we gotta do is
And
to
then
ship it.
we certainly want to make it the first product as less problem as possible, but we're dealing with that.
Yes.
And that's a process we love. you know, and then get the product because we know it's not perfect. And then we give also a peace of mind, okay? We give the first 100 units 60 days refund period. That means that within the 60 days, you can return the units with 100% refund. But that will be impact you guys the commission, okay? When anybody cancel and refund the units, then your commission is coming.
That's right.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunate,
That's
unfortunate.
something, yeah, that's where everybody has to look at your job.
It's hard. It's
Yeah.
a hard job.
It's our job. And also, yeah, I want to confirm the VCycene works 100%. Okay, then you should share the the lalacompost.com to everybody.
Yeah, please share it in the general channel.
Yeah, the general channel, and then actually somebody wanted to buy, or you guys want to buy, okay, and go ahead and on network. That works.
Awesome.
You guys are sales and we're like honestic and creative. I mean the manufacturing side with conservative.
You know that's so this is a learning curve
Absolutely.
for ourselves as well.
Yeah.
You know what? If I back and make another new company, I will start to sell even earlier. I tell you guys.
Yeah.
That's a learning curve.
Yes.
Even earlier.
It's even harder for engineers.
Yeah. Sell it before you make it. You know.
Yeah, sell it before you
Uh-huh.
make it.
Yeah.
That's how Bill Gates built
That
DOS.
makes sense. Actually, it makes very
He
a lot of good sense.
Yeah. He sold DOS MS first and then built it in 2 weeks.
You sell the dreams first.
Yeah, it's something because you need something to you sell, you make some,
Yeah.
and you get a test, you get feedback, you refine this, you get better, and you test it again, you do it very quick. Then at the end of it, with a short, you are short your development process and get a market fit product, then you will be successful.
Yes.
That's all about.
Yes. That's all about. That's all about.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you guys.
All right, thank you.
Thank you for attending the session.
Pump up.
Thank you, Chris,
Well,
for everything.
Make
He's
it
gone, but we'll thank him anyways. Yeah, we'll probably have weekly sales training every Friday after the team meeting by Chris. He's in London, but some occasionally he will come here. But every time he come here is a few more less sales that we get. But that happens.
Has he been a salesman in the past, right? He sounds like he's trained.
He's professional. Yeah.
He's doing a lot of SaaS before.
Oh,
related to-
SAS?
Yeah,
SAS. Oh, that's smart.
Yeah.
SaaS.
And he has saying all the time, actually maybe more to be than to
Yes.
see.
Well, he mentioned about Wayfair. Wayfair is actually a very good platform to sell
Yeah, Wayfair is very popular with the households.
household stuff.
Yeah, it's very popular. Yeah, it's very popular. But not necessarily cheap. Wayfair, the headquarters is California. It's in California.
But they have a big crew in Toronto. My friends work for them. Big warehouse in Brampton, 122 loading dock.
Okay.
Huge. One of the biggest I've seen in Canada. And it's not the artist, it's just warehouse. It's big.
Yeah, Wayfair. We have some experience with it.
But they've been cutting off people now. They cut down.
Yeah, maybe because the automation of the process, right? We don't need that too many people. That's one of the reasons cut down, right?
Okay, I've been recording this, so I'll upload this session for internal viewing only. And for those of you who listen and wants to listen again, you can check it out. Okay.
Alright. Another thing that I want to make sure, George, how you track the sales made by every individual. You have to get the system in place. They will report to you,
So,
or will automatically
yes.
track by the
Yeah,
system.
give it to Julia. So on HubSpot, there's a label. There's a person assigned to that cell.
And
So do we still use the referral program that we used to have on our website?
That's separate.
That's-
This is different.
That's for
Yeah. As on HubSpot, there is a person assigned.
Then we need to do it manually.
Yes.
Not legal.
Yes.
For,
Yes.
for,
Affiliate marketing is stranger to stranger, not team to stranger. Yeah.
and also, we start today, we will give the commission by week. Okay. By do it.
Yes.
Okay? Money will be there when you make sense.
Awesome. Great. Thank you, guys.